y'all, and welcome to the Healthy by Heather Brown podcast, where I encourage you in healthy mind, body, and spirit through my Sunday reset. Let's get into it. Honestly, y'all, I don't even know where to start with this week's episode introduction because literally Joey Odom from RO got on this podcast interview with me and we just started flying. Like we were just talking and chatting and we were like, we know so many people that are the same. And he lives just a hop, skip, and a jump away from me over in Tennessee, but he's the co-founder of RO. And so I'm just going to plop you in the middle of our conversation. So you're welcome. But this episode is convicting and it's hard, but I want you to know that there's zero condemnation. And I loved his quote that he gave that guilt is a good indicator on your, and we were talking specifically about phone usage and not a good motivator. So I thought that was such a great, impressive quote that was so helpful. He said that 91% of us are around our cell phones within arm's reach, 23 hours a day. And so we talked about how to head first tackle that and how it starts with us. So I really want to encourage you more than anything else today to please forward this episode to your husband or your mom or your best friend or somebody that can help hold you accountable, because I know I had to do that. I had to talk with Eric and be like, listen, I need your help with this. Like, I know it's a struggle of mine. So Eric and I recorded a marriage corner on this and how we decided to tackle it in our own family that I will link down in the show notes for you guys to listen to. And then also I'd love to point you to the resource of the episode with Hannah Brencher talking about 1,000 hours unplugged and how you can actually do that. So get ready. This episode was fire. So I want you to be ready to, implement, not just hear it, but really be not just a seer, but a doer. I also loved how he quoted Matthew 5:16, I think it was, and just talked about how really, honestly, there are so many people that are seeing how believers and churches are starting to look different than the world in the way that we raise our family. So even though they may not get our Christian walk, they like how we're doing things different. We look like salt and light in the darkness, and they want a part of that, even if they don't understand the why yet. So I think this is just like a must listen to. You guys scroll down to the show notes. One more time, I'm going to tell you, listen to the Hannah Brencher episode, Eric and I's marriage corner, talking about how we are implementing this in our own home and life. And then also don't forget to download the RO app to help you get started with the tangible step, all down in the show notes. So scroll down and check that out. DM me on Instagram if you have any questions about it at Healthy by Heather Brown, because I'd love to encourage you one-on-one or help pray for you and whatever that looks like. And again, just so proud of you for pressing play on an episode like this, because I know it's not easy, but man, it is life-changing if you can implement it. Have a great day and enjoy this podcast. I feel like we could talk for a really long time.
I know. This is probably, I know we're using up all our good material. No, I have a feeling in the 5 minutes we've been together, we could probably do this for hours. So I'm not too concerned.
I agree.
By the way, I'm super pumped for us to know each other and be connected, and we love what you're putting out. And yeah, so we're just Jenna, we're just really excited and love what you're putting out in the world.
Well, thank you. And the feeling is definitely mutual. Like, I had never heard your name before until my friend Rachel had you on her podcast. And I actually immediately sent it to my husband. And I was like, you've got to listen to this, because this is about to radically change how we do cell phones in our home. And he was like, yeah, down. So when we listened to that podcast with Rachel and Eric was like, yeah, let's actually listen to it on the way to Dollywood for our final, hurrah of summer, like family wrap up trip, whatever. So we listened to it on the way there and we kind of were like, okay, like you can't hear what you have to say and not be moved to want to change.
Wow.
However, it's hard.
Yeah.
And unless you have an accountability partner in it, I feel like it's almost impossible. And so I know that some of the women that are listening to this are going to be like, well, even if you're not married, you could ask a best friend to hold you accountable, somebody in your church, whatever. But Joey, like ever since then, we sat down, we came up with a game plan. We even sat our kids down and we were like, okay, boys, like we all have goals for this school year that we all want to work on. Like Leighton, here's the ones you're working on and here's things you're doing great. Ben, here's things you're doing great and we want you to work on. Mommy and daddy are going to be working on our cell phone usage. And what we really want to happen, boys, this year is that when daddy gets home from work, mommy and daddy are going to go put our phones away. And that's going to be our intentional family time. And we are giving you guys the permission to call us out if we're on the phone.
I love that.
And if it's something for work or daddy's on call, because my husband's a cardiovascular nurse practitioner, we will tell you up front, there's a reason why we have our phones out so that you know, and we all know what's going on our phones and why they have to be present. And Joey, it's just been a game changer. It has been so, so cool. And then actually last season, Eric and I sat down and recorded a whole marriage corner about how that conversation impacted our lives. So I'll link back to that down in the show notes. But I just had to say, like I said it in the intro, how excited I am that you're here, but I don't even think I can overemphasize it enough.
Oh, that is so exciting. It really is so exciting. Here's the cool thing, Heather. It's like this whole idea of putting down our phones, like this has the most outsized impact of anything we can do. And it sounds like so simple and basic. We always think about putting down our phones, blah, blah, blah. But it's true. This is like magic that you can create on your own. It is amazing what happens. And we say it's the biggest lever we have in life. And the lever is something that requires minimum input, but gives you maximum output. It is extraordinarily difficult, by the way, to put down your phones, and for a bunch of reasons we can talk about. But when you do that simple act, especially when it's a physical act and people around you can see you're doing something physically, it sets the stage for something that really does have such outsized results in your life. So that gets me fired up. I had chills as you were talking about that, because I think and I'm just going to pick on the fellas here, like we tend to really overcomplicate things. Like we make things way more complicated than they need to. And it's just put down your effing phone, excuse me. You know what I mean? Like, and I say that like with all the emphasis it needs, because it's just like, because you have no idea like the great things that are waiting on the other side of it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. And Joey, I feel like I jumped in a little bit like ahead of the curve, but like we're getting into the meat already and I love it. But will you tell everybody, because this season of the podcast is all about like we did a season last season on healthy kids. So I feel like there's such a just war on our kids and our culture right now, especially in America, but also, I mean, in the world, it really is wild to watch play out. So we talked a lot about that last season. This season, I really am talking a lot about healthy marriages and what does that look like? Because healthy marriages really are just the foundation and the fabric of our country. And Joey and I were even talking about before we hit record about, oh my gosh, Joey, what did you say exactly? You said something about how people look at, Christian families from the outside and are like, there's something different there. Will you talk a little bit more about that? Because I thought it was so good. I was like taking notes as you were talking.
Well, I mean, this is, this was in the context of an initiative we're launching called the Digital Fast. That's digitalfast2025.com. That is a church-led, church-initiated 28-day journey to reimagine the way we're using our technology. The fast is maybe a little bit of a misnomer. It's not abstinence. It's actually 4 phases of reimagination of technology. And with the idea being, one, we as Christians, we within the church need this ourselves. Everybody needs this. The technology problems that we're facing, they're no respecter of faith. They're no respecter of politics. They affect all of us. And within the church, like we need it. We all need this. And so it's an amazing opportunity to do this collectively as a church, for people to do it, go through an individual journey, but then also know we're part of a larger group that's doing it. But this is an amazing opportunity, because the way that we all feel, this way culture feels technology, it's so poignant that culture is at a moment where it's so willing to listen to anybody who's going to give clarity on this, anybody who will tell me, what in the heck do I do about this? Absolutely. And so this is an opportunity for the church to lead not by making this grand proclamation, but by modeling the way, for the church to model the way and lead culture, and for culture to look and say like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I don't know if I really believe in a risen savior yet, but boy, I love how they're raising their families. Gosh, virgin birth, I don't really understand all that just yet, but I do think they're managing technology well, and I want to be part of that. And so this is like Matthew 5:16, like, let them see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Like, what a cool opportunity we have, and not just for I want to back up too, not just for like the sake of a witness or to say like we're doing it well, but for the sake of our families too, for us to get it right. I mean, this to me, Heather, with all, and when people hear with technology, their defenses go up and because they feel like they're about to get condemned. There is zero condemnation here because one, there's no greater sinner than me when it came to technology. And this is why we're on this journey. But the other reason is because I think this is the most hopeful opportunity we have as parents, that we have as families. To your point, in a marriage, what an incredible opportunity that we have. I heard a quote last week that I loved that said that guilt is a good indicator, but a bad motivator. So let's use this guilt we might feel a little bit when it comes to like, I feel like I'm maybe not getting this right, but that's not your motivator. Your motivator is the incredible things that happen on the other side of your phone. Your motivator is the hopeful opportunity to have an intimate marriage. Who does not want an intimate marriage? Your motivator is for your kids to see a great marriage, setting the framework for them of what they should expect someday when they get married. And you're setting this incredible standard for them. This is all hope. This is all opportunity. And this is why I get so fired up about it, because and we can do this. And this is the cool thing. We can do it today. Like all of this can start today. It's amazing. Like what a cool opportunity. What other opportunity do we have to have such outsized impact relative to effort than this? This is the greatest opportunity any of us have in relationships.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm like, whoa, I'm like getting fired up.
I know. Let's go.
Let's go. But as you were talking about that, I was kind of like, okay, let's take it back to the basics. So I realized I jumped in deep. So Jody, tell him a little bit about your story.
Joey, who the heck are you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Joey, tell him your wife's name. Tell him how long you've been married, how many kids you got, and what put you on this technology journey.
So my wife, Kristen, and I, we've been married for 20 years. We celebrated 20 years this year.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you. We met in college. We are, as you look at us, a little bit of an odd couple. I am 6'5". My wife claims 5 feet tall, but she's just a touch under. So we look a little bit odd couple-ish, but it works. Opposites attract. She's beautiful and looks the exact same as when I met her in college. Our kids, we have a 16-year-old son, Harrison, a daughter who's 14 named Gianna. We live in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I'm the co-founder of a company called RO, and this began. And RO is a technology company that exists to help families put down their phones and engage in real life, and to see the beauty of the world on the other side of their phones, outside of their screens. And really, it's honestly for parents to model the way well for the next generation. It's not a mandate for kids to put down their phones. It's really for us to say like, hey, this can begin with us, and we can model this well. So this whole journey started. We've been working on RO for a little over 5 years, but this started for me personally about 11 years ago. My son Harrison, who's 16 now, was playing his very first soccer season at 5 years old. And for anybody who's been involved, maybe especially in soccer, like in youth sports for sure, but soccer especially, like the kids who are really score a lot of goals and do really well in soccer are really aggressive kids. And these are kids who appear to be probably in some kind of work release program, or maybe parolees, maybe live in a halfway house. Like these are killers, right?
He's describing my youngest son, Finn, on the soccer field.
Oh, Finn, there you go. Finn probably lives in a halfway house, right? Like he's just an aggressive kid.
It feels like it.
So Harrison was not one of those kids. Harrison was a sweet kid. He is a sweet kid, high EQ, like just a great kid. And that did not lead to success in soccer. And so yet, just like we did every other Saturday, my wife and I and our daughter Gianna, we lugged out the lawn chairs to the sidelines to endure another hour of soccer on a Saturday. But this one particular Saturday turned out to be an extraordinary day. And it happened about midway through the game, as Harrison's standing there in the middle of the field with him and the soccer ball, and he rears back his leg. And Heather, this picture in my mind, it's almost like a dramatic, like a Braveheart scene or something, like cue the James Horner music, slow motion. Harrison kicks the ball. It glides over the grass and it goes into the back of the net for his very first goal. And everybody on the team had scored a goal except for Harrison. And he scored the goal. And these sweet parents, they went crazy. They were clapping. His coach even went out on the field and picked him up. But there was this little moment in between the ball hitting the back of the net and Harrison's coach picking him up when he did what 5-year-old boys do in that moment. He turned to the sidelines to lock eyes with me, right? To see the pride on my face and to see the smile on my face in this beautiful, magical moment. And it really was magical, except for one thing. And that's that I missed it all. Is that I didn't see any bit of that soccer goal. In fact, when Harrison looked over at the sidelines, all he saw was the top of my head as I was looking down at my phone. I only know about everything I just described because my wife told me about it. And it was one of those moments, Heather, where I had this very small feeling, and I didn't have necessarily all the words for it at the time. I just had 2 words, and that was something's wrong. Like there was something wrong. I just felt it. Like I just knew that this thing, this phone in my pocket that does all these great things, all these amazing things, and is additive in a lot of areas of my life, that I had a relationship with this phone. And I say that word very specifically. I had a relationship with an object, and that relationship with that object was getting in the way of the most important human relationships in my life. So think about it. We grow up, girls do this, but boys do this as well. You think and you imagine the person you're going to marry someday. You think about that growing up. So I think about that. And then I meet Kristen and we get married and it's amazing, right? And then we think like, could we have kids someday? And then a lot of people go through blood, sweat, tears to have kids. And then all of a sudden you have kids and it's this great thing. And so you have all these things you've hoped for and you've dreamed for. And then all of a sudden this object, this thing subverts all of those relationships. And there's just something wrong about that. And I had probably at that time, again, this was 11 years ago. It's only gotten worse since then. It's almost like you grow to accept that that's just how life is. And I knew in saying something's wrong, that thing presupposes that life could look different. So we began, my business partner, Heath Wilson, who came up with this concept, and he had his own struggles with his phone as well, primarily through just being, locked in at work all the time. The original idea was, hey, could we do something to help our families? And if it helped our families, what if it could help other families? And so we started on a journey to change the relationship we have with our phones. It's not to go be a screen time blocker or anything like that, but go to that core relationship we have with our phones. And if I can wax poetic just a little bit longer.
Please, I love this. So good.
Just a statement about relationship. I think it's important when I say relationship technology, we hear those terms a lot, relationship with phones, relationship technology. And let's pause. That's weird that we have a relationship with an object. The only humans who have relationships with objects are children. Children have relationships with objects like their teddy bears and their blankies and their binkies. And those are things called transitional objects or comfort objects that give them comfort in the absence of relationships, in the absence of the real security. So what we're doing in this relationship with our device is we're clinging to an object just like we're children again. And the difference is we're clinging to these objects, not in the absence of our relationship, but in the presence of our most important relationships. We're clinging to this object. So it is, I think, very important for us to actually address this issue, to recognize we do have a relationship with an object, that is a little bit weird, that we're kind of acting like children. I'm looking at myself in the mirror here, but that we can actually transform that. And when you change that relationship with your phone, you actually change the relationship with everyone around you. And that's one of the most powerful things you can do, is recognize the relationship, change the relationship, and then see the impact on more important relationships.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And y'all, I just want you to know that as he was telling the story about Harrison playing soccer, like I was fighting back tears because I know exactly what that feels like, especially being a soccer mom. Both my boys play soccer, Joey. And so it is just so easy to be like,
yes,
okay, like my kid's running down the field in the clump again. Like, I'm just going to check this email, or I'm just going to be productive on the sideline. But really, it's like you're not only robbing yourself of the potential goal and like the miss on this amazing moment in your child's life, but you're also robbing yourself the gift of being still, being disconnected. And I do this all the time. Like, I have to literally war in my mind, even when I go on a walk outside, like, just leave your phone at the front door. Like, just go be present. And I think what you're saying, like, it really does. I think this is just going to crush mama's souls hearing this. And then they're going to be like, yeah, that is me, because that's how I felt when I heard you for the first time. But I just want to say, Joey is actually here to encourage you guys and say that there is a place to start. And maybe you could even describe a little bit about what do Harrison and your other kids see from you and your wife now? How do you and your wife communicate about phone usage, and what is almost like the expectation in y'all's home around phone?
Hey, mama, do you feel like you are surviving on chicken nuggets and goldfish and haven't stepped in a gym since college? Or maybe, on the other hand, you feel like you're checking every health box and are still hitting a brick wall? Well, I'm here to help you redefine what it means to be healthy from the inside out. I'm a former fitness instructor and everyday mom who is passionate about helping you create a beautiful life you freaking love. So I'm opening the doors to the Healthy by Heather Brown membership to the public and can't wait to walk alongside you and be your cheerleader. When you join, you'll be added to my exclusive Facebook group. You'll receive my Sunday reset training that will help you create promising, sustainable, healthy choices from the inside out, which will in turn lead to a more joy-filled life for busy moms. Live coaching and workout classes with yours truly. You asked and I listened. We'll talk about how to balance your whole health when you have kids and life get busy with school and activities. It includes grocery haul ideas and accountability as we all reset together each Sunday. There will be so much offered that you won't find anywhere else on the internet. Are you ready to take one step out of stress, shame, unhealthy boundaries, and fatigue and add healthy rhythms to the Hot Mess Express? When you're ready, I'll see you on the other side of the link in the show notes. I'm excited and ready to hold your hand and meet face to face.
Well, I want to touch on something you said that's so important is please, mama souls, like don't receive any condemnation for this. Please don't, because I'm telling you that something about mom brains is so brilliant. Like one of my favorite quotes actually is by Andy Stanley, and he says that wisdom is the recognition that everything in life is connected. And so women connect things so naturally. Again, I'll say it again. Wisdom is the recognition that everything in life is connected. Women's brains
That's so good.
are unbelievably wise because they're connecting everything together. If I say to my wife, hey, what are we doing, next Thursday at 2:30, she's not just going to know what's happening at 2:30, but she's going to know all the implications of what would happen if we scheduled something for that time. Or, hey, I need to be gone on the night of October 22nd. Okay, well, that means she starts thinking about who's driving who and who's going to, what about the next morning? So when I say all of that, I know how active mom's brains are. So when I'm saying all of this, please don't make the connection to condemnation or to guilt. This is all opportunity. We are all struggling with it, and we can struggle really, really well here. And so let's again, back to guilt being a good indicator, but not a good motivator. Don't let this really seep into, and we'll talk a little bit more about why I think you should actually celebrate some of this recognition here, especially if you maybe heard from your kids that you're on your phone too much. I actually think that's a celebration moment. We can talk about that. But one great thing for our kids, my kids do have phones, and they were initiated into an environment that was already cognizant of this. So we didn't have to go change their behavior. We were able to initiate very good behavior that came as a result of us modeling this well. And there's no pride associated with me saying modeling it well, because I had fallen on my face for years. So this has been a 5-year journey for me in kind of going through this. And that's, I believe, is the way we need to look at this as we're dealing with technology, is looking at it kind of like building a muscle. Is that if I were working out and I were on a bench press and I failed on a rep, I wouldn't go quit lifting weights forever, right? I would probably get back on the bench later that day, or, later the next set or the next day. It's something we're building a muscle, and failure is an inevitable part of it. And not only an inevitable part, but an essential part of this. And so it's something that we've been very, very cognizant of. And we began with this recognition for ourselves that if I'm relying on my willpower to overcome my phone, I'm going to fail if my environment is not conducive towards those goals. So James Clear says it a lot more simply, which is just environment is stronger than willpower. And so your environment has to be conducive. You said earlier you want to go on a walk and you have to struggle inside to leave your phone at the house. That is a single decision you're making. And if you leave that at the house, it's going to change that walk. But if you happen to keep your phone with you, you would have to fight that decision, 100 times on the walk to not look at your phone. But that one decision makes a big difference. So I was admittedly a lot different myself. I was a lot more, I struggled a lot more with my phone than my wife did. And so for me, this has been a real journey in establishing those environments. And we can talk later. We have 3 S's that to change your relationship with your phone. But one of those big things, and I'll talk about one of those now, is in our home, we establish sacred times and sacred places that are device free. And that is huge. So the term sacred is a really neat word, because for the most part, anything that's sacred is a normal human man-made thing that we have just called sacred. So we have actually the power to deem something sacred. And those sacred times and sacred places are device-free zones. So the easiest one is the dinner table. I mean, there's no lower hanging fruit than the dinner table. Another one, especially if your kids are young, for you to deem their rooms sacred places. So never to bring your phone into their room, which is a really neat thing for them to experience, because they know they're going to get all of you then and there. Another one, and this I'll tell a story about this, is watching a family movie without a second screen, which is such a powerful thing. It's very easy for all of us to have something on, but we're all for having, my family having individual experiences. So if you can have that single experience. And my daughter, when Gianna was 9, she was 10. When she was 10, we watched a movie. At the end of the movie, she turned to me and she wasn't congratulating. She wasn't judging me. She said, "Dad, did you know that's the first time we've watched a movie and you haven't had your phone?" There's a little bit of a gut punch, Heather. It hurt a little bit for a second.
You're like, oh.
But it was all, in a way, it's like, I messed this up for a decade, but it was really cool in that moment, because I was like, wait, I just did something that was great. I just did something cool. That feels really good. I like how that felt when Gianna told me that. So I couldn't wait to watch another movie. So that happened May 8th, 2020. And I know that because I wrote it in my journal, and I read this a couple months ago. I read in my journal. I was like, oh, I remember that time with Gianna. So I asked Gianna, I said, hey, do you remember that time that you told me that was the first time we'd watched a movie and I hadn't had my phone? And she said, oh yeah. And then she laughed. I love this. She laughed and she said, Dad, it would be so weird for us to watch a movie now and you have your phone. So Heather,
that's awesome.
That's 4 years, and what's normal for her has changed. And that's not just our relationship. That's for her. Let's think someday when she's dating a boy and they watch a movie together and he's on his phone the whole time, he's probably going to get kicked out really, really quickly. So she has an expectation now for what should happen in a relationship. So Kristen and I, my wife, we have fought very hard for this in our home. We've fought very hard, and we get defensive when the other one brings it up. We have accountability together. And if you can align on this, and this is maybe like right here, like everything for this episode. If you're a husband and you're listening to this, send this to your wife. If you're a wife and you're listening to this, send this to your husband and align. There is so much power in being aligned. And even if you don't feel like it for yourself, do it for your kids. Like, you do it for, fight for your relationship, fight for your marriage, fight for the intimacy in your marriage. We are in an intimacy crisis right now in America. The divorce rates have stayed about the same, but our intimacy has declined, and our intimacy is at such a trough right now. And I believe that this act of aligning on this, putting down our phones, making eye contact, that's going to be the thing that continues to build the intimacy. That's what's going to bring us up in intimacy. And by the way, that's what we want. I mean, it's like my daughter said the other day. She said, she's in Spanish class. She said, Dad, I want to know Spanish, but I don't want to have to learn it. Well, things don't work that way, right? Like, we all want
right.
marriage, but we don't want to fight for it and do all the things that go along with it. So that's what, again, that's how Kristen and I have gone about it. It is set a normal framework for Harrison and Gianna on how we prioritize human relationships over phone relationships. And it's imperfect, and we continue to iterate, but it's something that we believe is worth struggling for.
Absolutely. And I am curious, because you did bring up intimacy. How do you feel like, I guess, what do you and Kristen do on a day-to-day basis? Because I think about, a lot of times I think, our parents or grandparents, they used to connect around the radio back in the day, like sitting and you're both listening to the same show. And now, our friends or our parents may have sat around and watched the same TV show together versus being distracted by the device.
Yeah.
What does it look like for you guys now? And maybe this was when your kids were younger, but once your kids go to bed, what is like a healthy night for y'all look like? What is like I'm just like, sometimes my husband will say, and I don't fault him for this at all. And I can be the same way too, 100%. But Eric is a 5 on the Enneagram. And so he'll be like, I am on E. I have 0% left on my battery. I just want to zone out and be on my phone. But I appreciate that he tells me that, because then it's like, well, now I know the expectation for the evening. You know what I mean? Versus I feel like we used to be in a pattern that was really unhealthy of sitting down to watch a show together, but really we both were on our phones, not even barely paying attention to the TV show. So I'm just curious what struggles y'all have had after kids went to bed, and what does it look like now? And maybe even what are still some struggles that you have in the intimacy there?
Yeah. I mean, I think it is, Kristen is a super, super high quality time. And even all throughout our marriage, it's still like there's, her classification of quality time can be different from mine. I was like, what are you talking about? We went and did car wash together. That wasn't quality time. Like that. No, that wasn't quality. I was like, okay, what do we, so it's like, so she is very much like, let's sit, eye contact, let's connect, let's talk. And I have found, and so that's a constant struggle for me to figure out, like, to me, that felt like quality time. For her, it didn't feel like quality time. So that is a struggle, is in learning what language she's speaking. Quality time not being maybe a natural one for me. Like words of affirmation is a little bit higher for me on the love language scale. So that's a struggle. I think that I will say that eliminating that second device has been significant for us. I think I probably conditioned in our marriage just this continuous partial attention that we're really still kind of fighting back on that. Like that's something that and again, that began with me, that begins with me. And so a couple things that we have done this summer, and this is going to sound like the most basic thing, but I actually think the most basic things are the ones that have the most impact.
I totally agree with you.
We began a 30-minute evening walk every night. And Heather, it's incredible. Like, and it's leave the phones at home. Both of us do. It began with just me. Then it came her. And by the way, we'll have, like, our kids are both out. Harrison drives Gianna now. And so he was out driving, and we're like, let's keep a phone with us. So, and here's a little pro tip that I love is I held Kristen's phone. She didn't hold her phone. I held her phone.
Oh, that's so smart.
It's a great date night tip too. Like if you need your phones, just swap phones. You're not going to doom scroll on the other person's phone. It's just like a really great practical thing. Again, back to environment. So we are prioritizing those times, and the walk has been such an indispensable part of our lives now. We also love watching Braves games. We're huge baseball fans. We love doing that together. We love watching shows together. So this is not an anti-tech discussion. We are sharing an experience together when we watch Braves games. We are sharing an experience when we watch Bad Monkey on Apple TV Plus, which is a great show with Vince Vaughn.
Okay, I haven't seen it. It's worth watching. I'm writing that down.
So good. So good. Forget it's not good for kids, right? It's probably a little inappropriate.
What is these days?
Yeah, exactly. But those are things that we can unite around, a common experience that we can share together. And I think that's where we don't have to get so complicated. And even going back to what you were saying about Eric, sometimes we also do need a little bit of veg out time. I'm actually a proponent of that, of recharge time. We have to be careful when it starts, when it actually starts draining our battery versus charging our battery. That's a little bit for every person to recognize for themselves. But those are some of the struggles. Those are some of the rhythms. It is the small 30-minute daily deposits, though, I think, that have the most impact over time.
I think that one thing that you just said that really resonated with me was figuring out, like, for instance, I remember when my kids were super young and we still had very regimented nap time where they would actually be napping. And now it's more like I try to still instill a quiet time, even if it's only 20 minutes. You go to your room and you color, or you build Legos, or you do whatever they want to do. But I do think that that's so true for us too. Like I remember during that time when they were bitty babies being like, I don't know what's happening in the world. I don't know if like something crazy happened in the news cycle. I don't know what the weather is. Like I saw that I had 15 text messages from my mom. I just need like a moment to go get on my phone and like pull back. And I remember so looking forward to that as a mom, being like, I get to find out what's happening outside the four walls. It's so like so exciting. But you're exactly right. Some days I feel like I was a really good steward of that time. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take, this little bit of time. And then after I catch up on what all's happened and get to just like relax my brain. But then I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, and now it's time to move on to the next thing or whatever. But you're right. When you get stuck there, though, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden you're just scrolling and scrolling, but you don't even really know why.
Mm.
And you're kind of like, oh, what influencer have I not seen in a few days? And now they're
Yeah.
popping up in my stories. But is that really actually
Yeah.
refreshing me at that point? No.
It's so true, and this is a difference. This is very interesting, and this maybe an overgeneralization, but when it comes to phones, very often dads will put down their phones to connect, and moms pick up their phones to connect. That is their connection with the outside world. Everything runs through mom's phone. I mean, again, I'm overgeneralizing, and so this is why when we talk about phones, this is not nearly as black and white a discussion as anybody would like for it to be, right? This discussion is a lot easier, Heather, if you and I were just to agree that phones are bad and that we need to go back to flip phones. That would be a lot easier because it would be so much more clear, but it doesn't take into account all the nuance of, the gray waters and everything that goes along with phones. Like, phones do great things and you are able to arrange a lot through them. And sometimes, to your point, like when you're stuck inside the four walls, maybe hanging out with kids all day, you need connection with the outside world. So, but to your point, that's where it starts getting into kind of the, am I going too far? Is this what I intend to do? And the real question, I do believe, there is intention. If the intention is, I need 30 minutes to connect with my people and to maybe just see what's going on in the world, that is wonderful. It's just when you start acting in misalignment with your intentions for yourself, that's where things start to kind of go off the rails. But that requires a high level of self-awareness to know, what do I actually intend to do right now myself?
Absolutely. I just picked up my phone to try to find this reel that I just posted, and I couldn't do it quickly enough. So I'm just setting it down because, again, I don't want to be distracted like we're talking about right now. But I published this reel and it's gone crazy, like probably the most amount of shares that I've had in a long time on a reel. And it is just me sitting down on the phone, and what it says on the reel is, if you ever see a mom doing this, ... and I'm just sitting there, typing on my phone, and you think like, oh my gosh, she's just on her phone aimlessly scrolling. But it's like, but what she's really doing is booking the kids' lunch, figuring out the summer schedule, booking babysitters, like scheduling a dentist appointment, getting her next workout class on the schedule. And it's like all those little things that it's like, they make an app for everything now, and it's so overwhelming and so frustrating because it's supposed to simplify your life, but really it just makes you more attached and more of a relationship with this device that I don't want.
Yeah, that's why we can't look at our screen time reports on Sundays as any barometer for how we're doing, because there's good stuff that happens on there, right? And a lot of it is usually just how much time we were on Waze figuring out where we go from A to B, right? So it's
true.
So that's why when we get this Sunday screen time report from Apple, it sparks a level of guilt in us that I think we just need to totally eliminate. Like, there's good stuff you do on your phone. So let's stop looking at all screen time as bad, and let's start looking at how we are savoring the off-screen time that we do have.
Absolutely. Well, I know that we're quickly running out of time. So Joey, I do want to ask you, because this blew my mind, but will you share some of the top stats that you share with people about even the amount of hours that people typically have their phone within reach, or any of the things that you guys kind of at RO typically are like, if you don't realize how bad it is, here's a stat that'll blow your mind.
Well, this is where we believe the defining characteristic of our relationship with our phone is our constant proximity to it. When you break the proximity to your phone, you will lessen your interaction with your phone. You'll lessen your dependence with your phone. And when you're less dependent on your phone, you'll be around it less. So the key defining characteristic is our constant proximity. And that's what RO exists to do, is help you break that constant proximity and change your relationship with your phone. And 91% of us have our phones with us 24 hours a day. So that's where we always start, is that our phones are with us all the time, 91% of us. So by spending any amount of time away from your phone on a given day, you're actually joining the 9% club.
Woo!
We also, isn't that great?
It's awesome. I'm like, let's do it, guys.
Yeah. The other piece of it when it comes to our interaction with our phone is that we often think that it's these inbound notifications that are killing us. And if I just silence my notifications, everything will be fine. The problem is that when it comes to our phone usage, 89% of our phone usage is self-initiated, is that we are initiating we're picking up our phones and we're looking at the weather I hear you're in a cyclone zone right now in Birmingham, whatever that means.
That could happen, but here we are.
So we pick up, we look at the weather, and then we jump over to Instagram, and then we jump over to ESPN or whatever it is. And so we just go down these rabbit holes that are initiated by us. So we're the ones that are doing that. And the only way we're able to initiate that is if our phones are constantly with us. And so we're fighting this huge battle. And the other thing, and this maybe gets into the kind of the qualitative versus the quantitative, but when it comes to our phones, like the damage it's doing to our own ability to focus and our own intimacy in our marriages and our relationship with our kids and savoring those moments with our kids or normalizing these things for our kids, we have to do something, if nothing else, just for that future generation. Because if we don't, this generation of kids who are on Instagram and TikTok, if we don't do something ourselves and model the way well for them, then this generation of kids very well could be the very first generation of kids who will die someday having ingested more of other people's memories than memories they create on their own.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Terrifying.
That's awful.
I know. And again, like, here's the cool thing though. Like, we can do something about it. And it begins with us. This is what we encourage people. We talk about start, stop. Start is, you have to start with yourself. Like, I know it's so easy to point the finger at your spouse. I know it's so easy to point your finger at your kids or Meta or whoever you want to blame. And everybody has some culpability here. But if you instead began with yourself, I'm going to start with me. I'm going to model the way for me. I'm going to change the relationship for me. And then the stop, and this is really for couples especially, is you got to stop at nothing to get it right. Struggling. Keep struggling. Keep working through your own disagreements and keep working through your own different experiences that give you the paradigm that you have. Keep struggling with this and do it for yourself. And when you do that, you're going to see the impact on yourself. You're going to see the impact in your marriage. You're going to see the impact in your kids. You're investing in your kids, especially if they're young, to normalize a good relationship with your phone. And you're going to be so thankful that you did that, but you have to stop at nothing to get it right.
Yes, I love that. That is so, so good. Well, Joey, I'm going to ask you one final question, and then I'll let you tell everybody where to find you and Arrow online again. But so we talk all the time on here about Sunday resets and how that's your opportunity to make an intentional game plan for the week for you, your family, about how you want to be healthy and living intentionally in mind, body, and spirit. So I often ask guests, how do you reset in your own life? But I'm curious if you could even answer, how do you reset in your own marriage?
So I believe, I remember we were in a small group once, and the small group leader said, when things are going wrong in your marriage, whose responsibility or who can turn the tide or something like that. And the answer was either one of you. So you can, so if you're on a bad track, like I think it's that initiation in, I think it begins with an understanding that you can stop whatever, the direction, whatever train is headed, and you can just pause for a second. And it's going to require, I think this is where I'm thinking out loud as I'm saying it. I think the times that I have reset in my marriage have come from God's grace in moments of me being humble. Of like, it requires, and it sucks. Like, it's just like, that is the worst because
it's hard.
Like you're losing a battle and no, they were wrong. And I'm just telling you, but when you go and you can reset, but it's going to require a lot of humility. So I think for me, the times that it's happened is times that I just swallow my pride and I just say, Kristen, I'm really sorry I reacted that way. And no comma, but like, it was just like, I'm really sorry. Like, yeah, again, you hear a bunch that repair in relationships is one of the most important things you can do. And repair is only available if you've damaged something first. And so damage is, you're halfway there. So that's good. But I think this whole reset in marriage, I think it just, for me, I reset best in my marriage when I swallow my pride and I'm humble and I just, with no conditions, make an apology, make amends, whatever that could be. I don't know if that answers the question well, but that's what comes to mind most for me.
That is great. I love that. I feel like it was really just, I loved hearing you process through it. So it was really cool. Now, Joey, will you tell everybody to find you online, where to find you online, and then I'll wrap us up.
Yeah, I would love for people to, you probably heard this and you say, oh, I could really use that, or, oh yeah, that would really be great. What's hard is translating hearing a message like this into action right now. So what I would ask, and it's going to sound self-serving, and I promise it's not, I would encourage everybody listening to go download the RO app right now. And that will be your first step. This may not be the thing that solves it for you. I believe you'll join tens of thousands of other people who it has been, but it may not. But what you've done for yourself is you've made a declarative investment in yourself. You've said, I'm taking a next step. Again, back to stop at nothing. If RO is the thing for you, and I believe it will be, that is wonderful. If it's not, at least you're taking those steps. Go find the thing after that if that doesn't work for you. So in downloading the RO app, you can try it for 7 days to decide for yourself. It's totally free. Download the app to try it for 7 days for absolutely free. Long term, we have the RO box. That's just an amazing device you can level up with. But just take this one step right now. So go, RO is spelled ARO, obviously in the App Store or the Google Play Store. That's where I'd love for people. That would be the step I would say today for yourself. Don't let all of this message just be like, oh, that was pretty good, and then walk away. Take that next step and download the app.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Heather.
Of course. You guys, you just heard from Joey Odom at RO. I'm so thankful that he came on today. He just challenged you to go get that RO app. I highly encourage you to do the same thing. If you actually scroll down in the show notes, I have a link directly to it where you guys can click it, find out everything that you need. And also, if you are curious how Eric and I literally went to battle with each other and with our devices from utilizing Joey's tips, I'm going to link also our marriage corner where we talked all about what it looked like for us to come to grips with our own sin, with our own selfishness with our devices, with our own struggles. And both of us talked about things that really were hard for us. And I mean, we got into it. So y'all also listen to that episode. I think that you'll find it really powerful. And while I do hope that you download and listen to all those things and get the RO app, at the end of the day, what I would really ask for you to do is to pray with the Lord and ask him to give you clarity, number one. And number two, forward this episode to your spouse or your mom or your dad or whoever is going to hold you accountable. I love giving you guys those weekly challenges, and you can implement it this Sunday in your Sunday reset. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks, guys.
Okay, friend, that's a wrap on this week's episode. If you're not already following me on Instagram, make sure to screenshot this episode, share it to your stories, and tag @Healthy by Heather Brown so I can connect with you in my DMs. It truly brings me so much joy to see how these episodes impact you. Make sure to subscribe so we can see you back here next Tuesday for our weekly show. In case you don't know, your downloads, ratings, and reviews are the actual lifeblood of this podcast, and it helps spread the word to your friends and family. So please hit the download button on this episode and leave a 5-star rating if you super loved it. And if we're really BFFs, you'll spread the happy and text this podcast link to someone who needs to hear it today for some encouragement. Scroll down to the show notes on this episode to see any and all links mentioned, freebies to fuel your health goals, prayer-related episodes, and the 7-day free trial of my exclusive membership where I personally coach and cheer you on in whole health. While you're there, make sure to check out my Amazon storefront with healthy snacks, my favorite look for less workout outfits, and books and devotionals that challenge me in my faith. If you ever need to find my Amazon storefront, just Google Healthy by Heather Brown Amazon and it will come up. Have a great day, girl gang.